So I was at work a few weeks back, and myself and a few coworkers were talking about scary games, being that Halloween is coming up and all. One of the guys, Mike, told me that he and a friend recently played Visage, and he claimed that it was the scariest game he's ever played. Needless to say, my interest was piqued slightly. So I picked it up, and at first thought, just how scary can this game be? Oh my god, what the hell! Without jumping into the scares right away, I gotta say, this game just reeks of atmosphere, right from the start. You get a menu with creepy piano music, a rainy scenescape, and 2 shoes on a carpet. Start a new game, and you get a very disturbing intro scene, in which you have the POV of some guy sitting at a table with a pistol. He picks it up, loads the bullets into the cylinder, and suddenly kills 3 people before seemingly taking his own life. I was not expecting this, and I must say, it is a little unsettling. Now you find yourself in a sizable house, walking around at a slow pace. From here on out, it's up to you to figure out what's going on, and presumably to escape this hell. And of course, this won't be easy. The game flat out warns you at the start that it will make you think, and that you better have patience. Great. I don't, so this might not end well. As for the investigation skills, yeah, you better be ready to explore every nook and cranny in order to solve some of the most brain-busting puzzles I've ever seen in a game. Okay, maybe that's a bit extreme. I've seen more cryptic brain teasers in games, but the catch with Visage is that you aren't given a single hint on what to do. But that's part of the fun of the game, using trial and error along with simple exploration to progress the plot. So here's the basic gameplay of Visage. Am I even saying that right? Visage? 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 I don't know. Oh well. You explore this beautiful yet untidy house, looking for any sort of clues on how to solve any puzzle you might come across. Sometimes it's going to be as simple as finding a crumpled up piece of paper telling you what to do, but most of the times it'll be a lot more cryptic, such as knowing to take off a portrait and look through a hole to see what paintings need to be hung up on said wall. Many reviews of the game online state that you should keep a guide handy, and I gotta admit, as much as I didn't want to, I wouldn't have gotten far into the game without one. Even with a guide, I still only got about 2 hours in, but part of that was my fault with time management and playing other games. Yeah, well, either way, one gripe that I have with almost all of these styles of walking simulator / horror games is your movement speed. You have 2 speeds, slow lumber and not quite a brisk walk. This drives me nuts. You have a character who is seeing a bunch of paranormal events, such as television suddenly turning on, a car alarm going off for no apparent reason, or light bulbs bursting. Yet there's no pep in their step. This is even worse when you have a big bad chasing you. Yep, there are threats coming for your life. Again, I didn't get very far into the game, but I was chased by an older woman named Dolores, who is the enemy of the chapter I chose to start with. I didn't realize that you could choose between one of 3 acts at the start of the game, depending on what you do when you first start. Apparently, Dolores' chapter is the most difficult one to begin with, so go figure that's the one I chose. Anywho, as you play the game, you'll see an icon in the bottom left of the screen which depicts your sanity. Sudden sounds or events may cause a red splotch to appear, in essence signifying your elevated heartbeat. If you see the brain appear, it means that you are losing your sanity, which will cause more events to happen all around you. It will also make the enemy start chasing you more frequently. If you let your sanity drop too much, you'll need to take some medicine to fix it. Otherwise, you run the risk of an instant death in the hands of the enemy for that chapter. Honestly, I wish there was a difficulty selection, or even a way to disable the entity that chases you altogether. Yep, I know, this would really take away some of the true horror feeling of the game. But for someone like me, who wants to play the game for the story and puzzles without that big threat, it would have been awesome. Either way, there were certain areas that seemed safe at points, but then at others, you'll see them stalking you in that same area. So I guess what I'm getting at is, well, you're never truly safe in this game. Thankfully, the fear factor isn't just present in these ghostly beings. As I've already mentioned, there are plenty of moments that, when you look back at them, might be innocent, everyday occurrences, like a radio turning on to a talk show. But taken in this kind of environment, stuff like this will make you jump, or at least put chills down your spine. Honestly, the entire time I was playing the game, I was on the edge of my seat, with clean boxers at the ready. The developers have done a fantastic job setting the mood, with plenty of dark areas that can be explored. But as I said before, you don't want to spend a ton of time in dark zones, as this will cause you to slowly go insane. To alleviate this, you can find small lighters in the house. These lighters don't last forever, but they can help drive away the darkness, if even for a little bit. You can also find candles that can be placed in specific holders, which can be lit for your own well-being. The catch is that you can only really carry 5 things in your pockets, called dynamic items. These include replacement light bulbs, lighters, candles, medicine, and some puzzle items. You can drop things that you don't need at the moment, but just remember where you've left them. Speaking of the inventory, I should talk about the controls, as it's another pain point for me in this style of game. They seem simple enough, with left click to use the item in your left hand, and right click to use the item in your right. It's more so the exploration controls that bother me. In order to open doors and drawers, you have to hold down a mouse button and then move the mouse to interact with the object. For example, to open a door, you hold the left click and move the mouse backwards. This is fine and all, but the interaction with the object is so slow compared to your mouse movement. Thankfully, the developers were nice and gave us a simple control scheme option, in that you just hold the interact button to open the door, instead of moving the mouse too. After a very short time of fumbling with cabinets, I quickly switched to that simple control scheme, and I highly suggest that you do too. The awkward controls also extend to what you are holding. I just feel that they are overly complicated. Space swaps the items in each hand, which can be useful if you want to keep something in your right hand so you don't keep accidentally activating it while you are holding something in your left. Holding F allows you to drop an item in either hand. In order to move a held item into your inventory, you'll hold down Tab and either left click or right click in empty space, depending on what you want to put away. So far, this all works, but I've mostly had issues when examining items pertaining to puzzles. Take this painting puzzle. I pick up a painting and can't figure out how to put it back down. I thought I needed to left click the wall, but that didn't seem to do anything other than activate the item in my left hand. So I drop it to the ground, but sometimes I drop a sledgehammer that I was carrying. Here, all I needed to do was approach an empty spot on the wall, and then it would automatically be placed back on its holder. I wish this would have been simplified with just a simple left click or press of a key, but I guess it works. The graphics of the game do a fantastic job at eliciting a spooky atmosphere. Chains on doors that are very similar in look to Silent Hill 4 are present to keep you out of certain rooms. There are plenty of useless items that you can pick up and look at, and lots of lights can be flicked on and off via a light switch in places that make sense. All of this makes the house look absolutely believable, regardless on all the horrifying crap that you're encountering. Last thing I want to mention is a hidden room that you can find that contains a shotgun. This is a scene that feels out of place, but it's actually pretty funny in its own way. You pick up the shotgun, and metal music starts to play, but then a flag pops out of the weapon's muzzle. Your character then just tosses the shotgun away in frustration. This made me laugh, because although I wasn't fully expecting a usable firearm to defend myself, it did kinda make me hope that it did work. Visage is a great game with fantastic environment and brutal puzzles, but even so, it's not really a game for me. I don't have the patience to solve such abstract puzzles, and the fact that your character has a death wish due to him not running from any threats chasing him makes the game more frustrating than I would like. Even saying this, though, I did have a fun time playing Visage. I'm not the kind of person to get spooked easily, but I did have the chills and a few jumps while playing. If you enjoy spooky games and don't mind punishing riddles, Visage may be for you. Final score, 5 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.